The Warriors, and Tony, you showed some of the shots. It's one thing for Steph Curry to take these crazy contested shots. Is everybody on the Warriors Steph Curry? Does Klay Thompson always have to take a contested shot? And I won't even mention Jordan Poole. And Steph's shots at the end of the game when they were down one, the runner over Anthony Davis, awful. The step back against Anthony Davis, awful. And what you get is yet another loss.
But I want someone to mention Jordan Poole. And what the Warriors, Israel Gutierrez, let's focus on them for a second, all right? The inconsistency. They're not putting back-to-back games together. They're not even putting back-to-back quarters together.
No, and this was one of those where it was surprising because it was a Steph Curry on a mission game. He was giving you,
to the brink. Let's go around the horn. Nobody got the ID line?
Lonnie Walker, the fourth quarter.
Nobody got the ID line? Come on, guys.
Still had Lonnie Walker being over the ID line.
Just think of it this way. The Hall of Famers on the court last night. LeBron, Curry, Davis, Draymond, Klay, Reeves. But Lonnie Walker the fourth, owning the fourth, 15 points, shock and awe. And now the Lakers a game away from running Golden State out. The champs' consistency and lack thereof, startling. Look at the shots they took late. On the last big play, LeBron knew the play, it seemed, before Draymond even ran it and turned it over. And don't forget to check out Schroeder's face here at the end. All right, Bill Plasky, around the horn to you. You were there. You're making the same Schroeder face. How did the Lakers win this one, and was it more about L.A. or Golden State?
It was all about L.A., Tony. LeBron James said Lonnie Walker the fourth won the game for him. I'm not going to argue with that. 15 points off the bench in the fourth quarter. Didn't take a shot in the previous game. Played only 28 minutes in the first 8 games of the playoffs. A bench warmer, forgotten, Mr. Nowhere. He showed us how the Lakers have all bought in to what they're doing. They've all followed LeBron's lead. They're all being inclusive. They're all being the tremendous team in the defense. Turned up in the fourth quarter, LeBron in Steph Curry's.
To their skill after that and going away from that pick and roll was because you can't use Kevon Looney in your offense because he provides spacing issues for you, and Jordan Poole has become absolutely unplayable. So for Golden State, you just collapsed this one. You let it go.
It's okay. It's that simple. Plasky, you're shaking your head no, because I think you think the Lakers had something to do with it.
Can nobody on this panel give the Lakers credit? Can nobody understand the Lakers were down by 7 in the fourth quarter and they bull rushed the Warriors? Can nobody give the Lakers credit for their defense? How about Austin Reeves? The Warriors can't even guard Austin Reeves. Give the Lakers credit. God, I can't believe this panel.
Bill, open your ears. We've been giving the Lakers a ton of credit. First of all, they've taken 52 more free throws than the Golden State Warriors. And here's the problem now with the Warriors. Go back to Game 6. Go back to Game 6 against Sacramento. The Warriors are 2-4 in their last 6 playoff games. They're 2-4 in their last 6. They're not playing well. This is all about the Lakers right now.
Okay, it is all about. Israel, I'll give you a last word on this.
Thank you.
I want to ask you the next question.
Yeah, no, I just want, like, Steph Curry, when you get that first look against Anthony Davis, I know when the switch had worked before, but when you get the first look and it's a bad look, go ahead and get to a different defender on the second time. I thought back-to-back it was bad decision by Steph down.
The tone in Golden State's locker room afterwards sounded optimistic. You know, we've been here before. They're not actually saying the famous
game went on, and outside of that fourth quarter, I think it was all about the Warriors, right? The fourth quarter, I thought it was Lonnie Walker, South Florida product, by the way, University of Miami. But it was about the Warriors with Draymond Green with the late turnovers, Steph with the decision to have Anthony Davis on the switch and try to attack him. If you're going to go to the rim, I feel like if you have options, go get another option. Go ask for a screen and get somebody else one-on-one. You don't want Anthony Davis there in those settings, and he did it twice and took 2 terrible shots. And so I think it was more about the Warriors late in the game where they normally overcome these situations. They normally avoid the turnovers and get the performance and the extra shot or 2 from Steph Curry. And this one, just a little bit more. He missed the layup. You know, obviously at the end there against Anthony Davis wasn't as good as he could be, and I thought they just came up that short.
You say normally. You say that short. You seem to be ready to say you're still optimistic about them. I'm going to ask you that question in a second. But, Harry, I mean, they went 7 games against Sacramento. They're alternating wins and losses and wins and 30-point losses. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this, to me, is about Golden State. And I agree with Izzy because, one, yes, you got the intense Steph Curry, I'm going to go get you a bucket when we need it, Stephen Curry. He gave you the triple-double. But things were not broken for them, and they tried to fix it. For the first 3 quarters, you used the recipe that you found out late in Game 1 that was going to work for you. You need to bring Anthony Davis out on the pick and roll, get him out of the paint, and run that. They scored 19 points on him when he was the primary ball defender in the first 3 quarters. They shot 8 of 11. When they got away from that in the fourth quarter, they did not score a single point on Anthony Davis and shot 0 for 5. that just didn't make any sense. That last 2.5 minutes was absolutely not just bad shooting, but
back to L.A. and feel good about winning a game in L.A. I mean, they were up 12 points in this second half and looked like they were the team that had figured it out and taken away a lot of those mistakes. I think they can replicate that if they get back to a Game 6. And, you know, they're going to feel good about playing a Game 7 at home as well. They've done this once before against the Oklahoma City Thunder, although I don't think this is the same group that can pull it.
Harry, are you as equally optimistic about the champs?
I am, but, you know, I'm going to give Bill Plaschke some credit here and give the Lakers some credit because they are 5-0 at home this postseason, and they've won those games by almost 18 points per game. So I do think Golden State is not out of it, but at this point they haven't given you a reason to feel good about it.
Frank, the light switch that Golden State thinks they can turn on at the moment, now that they're back against the wall?
Well, let's remember this. They did end the season on a 3-game winning streak. They had a 3-game winning streak against Sacramento in the first round. But this is different. LeBron James, the teams that he's been on that have gone up 3-1, it's happened 17 times.
I'll give you the last word.
I got to say it. It's over.
If we were tracking.
It's over.
We should have a graphic built for that.
Right?
Right? If we were tracking, I thought you said it was over
after
they won the play-in game, and you said it's over because they looked so bad winning the playoff game. But then you what I love about you, Bill, no matter what you said before, you take whatever situation's in front of you at the moment, you reevaluate with new information.
New
Is that a flip-flop? No, I'm
opinion.
reevaluating with new information. Well, maybe not. We'll move on. Heat 109, Knicks 101. Maybe it wasn't every ball, but it felt like every 50-50 ball Miami won. And that's how the Heat go up 3-1. Here's Julius Randles' quote after the game. Quote, maybe they want it more, end quote.
Well, maybe they want it more. I don't know.
Told you.
You know, that's been who we are all year. And we got to find a way to.
Isola, how do you hear that? And is this about wanting it more, or is the Heat just better than the Knicks?
You know, you just showed the clip 2 seconds ago. How about Jimmy Butler, getting right to the basket, and Julius Randles doesn't do anything? And then how about that closeout that he had late in the game when Caleb Martin dunked the ball on 3 of the New York Knicks? Julius Randle is right, and he's part of the problem. You know, the team needs to follow who their best player is supposed to be. Their best player is Jalen Brunson, but the one that gets all the accolades is Julius Randle. He had 8 field goals, 6 fouls, and 6 turnovers last night. He has not played well enough, and it's up to the New York Knicks to get players like the Miami Heat have, who have grit and who have toughness. That used to be who the Knicks were. Right now, they're not that, and you've seen in this series.
So are you saying it is true, Miami wants it more?
I just think they're showing more grit and toughness. I think that's
You're refusing to say Miami wants it more. Israel, I turn to you.
That quote from Julius Randle was about as lazy as his play. And the Miami Heat players who did ran back put it back in. It was Julius Randle not giving you what Jalen Brunson or R.J. Barrett and that type of passion, or frankly shot selection that those other players give you. And, you know, the Miami Heat are just a more together team. And Julius Randle, yes, he's a super talented player. He's won a game in Miami this year with some crazy shots. But he takes those crazy shots all the time. And in playoff time, you need to have more structure to your offense. You need to know you're getting a good shot and not a fall-away 20-footer from your big man. So the Heat are just better prepared for playoff basketball, and it's showing.
Harry Lyles, when you hear the analysis about who wants it more, who doesn't want it more, does it do anything for you? And to hear it from a player, how do you hear it?
It's very big. We're all trying to find the guy who did this vibes from Julius Randle, because you are also, to Izzy's point, part of the problem with it. Yes, I think both things are true here. One, that Miami wants it more, but I also want to speak of giving people credit, give Miami credit. We have found every reason for them to not win the play-in games that they played in, the first series, this series, inconsistencies, things like that. They lost all those games, and so they know how to win now. And when you have a roster filled not just with one of the best coaches of all time, but with a bunch of players that have been here before, you're going to get the result that you're getting against a Knicks team that is young and incomplete.
Games you have had to have lost games in the past and learned from those losses. Sounds like it's actually the failure monologue that Giannis had. Plaschke.
That sort of sounds like me learning from my losses. No, but I think that the quote is a high school quote. Players all wanted to win the NBA championship. They're all playing hard. Just give Miami credit. 7 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter. That's an unbelievable closing kick. They have better players. They have better coaches. They have a better team.
All right. Last word after the horn is Israel Gutierrez.
Because we're giving credit and we're talking about wanting it, Bam Adebayo, after those first 2 games in the series, he blamed himself for the Game 2 loss. His last 2 games, rebounding-wise, absolute brilliant performances, defensive-wise, brilliant, and that's
Coach Bob Huggins on air on News Radio 700, WLW Bill Cunningham Show, said what you're seeing on the screen here, a homophobic slur, he used it twice. Huggins saying there's no excuse for the insensitive and abhorrent phrase he used, and he won't make one. He said that in a statement afterwards. He said he's ashamed and will fully accept all consequences, and now the university is reviewing the incident. Bill Plaschke, how do you consider it all?
This one's easy, Tony. Fire Bob Huggins. And fire the radio host who laughed at of wildly offensive remarks. I mean, I'm so sick of people tossing around the F word like it's some kind of a joke when it's so demeaning to so many people in this country, to the hearts and souls of so many people. And I guarantee you, on the campus of West Virginia University, there'll be a lot of people protesting this, saying, get rid of Huggins. They've got to do it. You can't have a man, an educator, a man working with young people, having this kind of an attitude.
Lyles Jr.
On issues like this, I think the other thing that really stood out to me about this is the timing. We're talking about a group of people right now where it feels like they're under a microscope of hate, and so for you to so easily say something like this with your chest, to me, is alarming, and I think something that West Virginia has to consider when it comes to whether or not they're going to retain him, because do you want somebody like that right now in this climate representing your university? And it seems like the answer would probably be no.
Israel Gutierrez.
Well, for starters, the obsession with the LGBTQ community is strange. Like, keep us out of your jokes. It's not funny. It's almost always offensive. Secondly, if you're going to apologize, say what you did, both you and the university. You used homophobic language. You used harmful and hateful language. And lastly, it's just a matter of, yes, if you are somebody who's supposed to be leading men who begin to show up there in their teenage years, who, statistically speaking, around his staff and his players probably have LGBTQ people, you cannot be the leader of those people anymore. You have given up that opportunity. And so, yes, fire Bob.
Station and West Virginia University would be in regards to Bob Huggins. But Israel, if I could ask a follow-up question for you. When you hear and read the statement, I should say, from Huggins, that I am ashamed and that I'm going to take anything that comes at me now, consequences, like I've taught all my players through the years. How do you hear that?
How do you hear a guy who knows he's on public radio saying what he said? Which one is more genuine to you? I don't know.
Frank Isola.
I'm just guessing.
You know, there are people who obviously have been fired for saying less than that. There are people who said much worse and somehow keep their jobs. Radio hosts who've made a fortune, you know, going down the road with this kind of language. I would say this about Bob Huggins. He is a West Virginia alum. He's a legend there. He's in the Hall of Fame. Does that factor in? I have no idea. But my only thing is, when you hear this, and if it was a private conversation recorded, you'd think, man, that's crazy that he's like talking like this. He was on a radio program as a college